this is the card I'll be showing you how to make. It's called a shaker pocket card. It's got some little pearl raindrop, little droplets in there that shake around. The fun thing about this card and this type of shaker card is you can use any type of frame die cut for your opening, and you can make it any size. So I've also put together this card. It has a different die cut, so I will show and explain how to adjust your sizes, but I'm also kind of highlighting this Hello Irresistible DSP that's absolutely gorgeous. So to get started, I'll show you how to do this little pocket shaker first. So to get started, you are going to want to pick out first a die. So I've got the Tasteful labels here, and I'm going to use this label die right here. So you're going to want to figure out what size your die is, and then figure out a nice little over a 1/4 inch border, and then maybe cut a piece of paper, make sure it fits. And then once you've got that size, add 1 inch to that. So my pocket, finished pocket, is 3 inches by 4 inches. So I cut a piece of Flirty Flamingo that's 4 by 5 inches. So grab your Simply Score, and we're gonna go to scoring. So it's super easy here. Basically, you're gonna put it in any size, and you're going to score at 3/8 and a 1/2 inch. So it's really, like, if you're using the Simply Score, it's the 1/8 right beside the 1/2 inch. So you're going to do that to every single side. Okay, so I know this looks a tad bit funny, but trust me, it's going to look really cool here in a second. So grab your die cutting platform. So you've got your number 1, number 2, and number 3. And then we're going to grab our label here and our piece of paper, and you're going to want to kind of center it where you want it, kind of inside the window, to create the window on your piece of cardstock. Maybe take some Post-it tape just to hold it down there, and then you're going to run that through the die cutting machine. So after you finish that, you should end up with something that looks like this. So before we go any further, grab your paper snips, and you're going to actually cut a triangle out of this. I know it's kind of a little challenging to see on the camera, but right where that score line comes to a corner, that's what you're going to want to cut off. So right, I don't know, hopefully you can see there. That should, you see the point square there, and that is where you're going to make your diagonal. So just kind of angle your scissors there and chop. So it doesn't have to be super exact, just don't cut off your corner. So go around and do that to all 4 corners here, like so. And then once you finish, you can fold in. It's usually easiest if you fold in the closest to the label and then your second score line. Okay, so once you finish, you should have something that looks like this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of window sheet. Now my finished pocket is 3 by 4, so I cut my window sheet just slightly smaller so that it fits exactly inside my little pocket. So grab some Tombow. You do not want too much, but put it on the edge of the inside, like so. And then we're going to lay our window sheet down inside here and give it a little pressure so that it sticks nicely here. So you should have that. Now we have a window sheet. Next, we're going to take some foam adhesive strips, and we are going to line them on the very edge, fairly close to the score line there. So just take off one and kind of see where you need to place it. And then save this extra for another project and keep going. Okay, so once you finish that and you've enclosed your window sheet and created a spot for the little raindrop pearl things, you can go ahead and pull off your backing of your foam strips. And then we are going to fold in our sides here, like so. Okay, so this is what you should have. So it should look something like this. It should look like kind of like a window box frame is what we're going after. So once we finish this, I have cut a piece of DSP that is 3 by 5.5. So I kind of took my 6 by 6 piece and just cut it in half and then cut it down to 5.5 instead of 6. So next we're going to take our little pearl raindrop looking balls here and just pour some in there. You can fill it as full as you want, just to kind of make it fun. And then we're going to take some Tombow and just go on the edge of our DSP and all the way around, like so. And then we're going to take our DSP, and this is the side that I want to use. We're going to flip that upside down. And because this is 3 inches and this is 3 inches, it should be fairly easy just to lay on top and get it fairly centered, and then put a little pressure enough that we can flip it over. And then because the Tombow glue is still kind of wet, you can readjust just slightly and then give it a little bit more pressure. So that was super easy to put together here. So that's what it should look like, and then you can shake around and it's kind of a lot of fun to play with. So that is the shaker pocket card portion put together here. So then I'm going to grab a 4 1/4 by 11 sheet of Whisper White cardstock. That is our card base. And then I also have these 1 by 5.5 inch strips of DSP. Really, really pretty stuff. And I'm just going to add glue and add those to the very edge of my base card base here. And then add the second one here, like so. And then before I add this, I'm going to take some of the crinkled seam binding white ribbon here, and I'm going to wrap it around and tie a little loose fun bow. Okay, so once you've added your bow here, we can add that to the card front. So just take some Tombow and add that to the back of the DSP and center in your card like so. So that's what we should have thus far. Now, next I'm going to start with a piece of Flirty Flamingo and Calypso Coral ink. And I've grabbed this flower stamp, and we're going to be using the stamps and dies from the Artistically Inked and the Artistic Dies. So I've grabbed this large abstract looking flower, and I'm going to ink that up in Calypso Coral, like so, and stamp it on my Flirty Flamingo paper here. So we'll die cut this next. So grab your platform. We'll set our card base out of the way so it can work. So I have the number 1, number 2, and number 3 plexiglass plate. And then we have this, and we can just kind of line it up on our flower there. Whoops. And put our plexiglass plate on top and run that through the die cutting machine. And then when we finish, we should have something that looks like this. really pops and really looks cool. Next, we're going to grab our platform again, and we are going to take this die. We are wanting this part of the flower, so I just cut a piece of Whisper White cardstock to die cut that. So place that, sandwich that in between your plexiglass plates, and then run that through the die cutting machine. And when you get done, you'll end up with something that looks like this. So pull that out of the paper, and you can start to get all the little pieces out. And then, for sake of time, I'm not going to do that right now, but grab your piece of paper snips, and you can kind of go along and kind of create the edge of the flower. And if you just need to make some extra snips, that's fine. And just cut away the excess pieces that you don't need, and kind of detach the flower from this bunch of flowers. So when you finish, you should have something that resembles this, and then we'll be placing that on top of our Calypso Coral flower that we just stamped. Next, I'm going to take some of the DSP. It's kind of got this greenish blue tie-dye look, and we're going to die cut the leaves. So run that through your die cutting machine, and then when it comes out, it should look something like this. Now we're going to just use these top 4 leaves here. So you can go ahead and snip that and detach that. And then we're going to use one good extra leaf here. So I'm going to detach this. You can use these for a different project or keep adding leaves, whichever you prefer. And last but not least, I've taken some DSP, this kind of flirty flamingo yellow piece of DSP with the printed flowers here. And I just took my paper snips and die cut or cut out one of the flowers here. So that will go there. I also took a 3/4 inch piece of Whisper White and stamped the word hello out of the stamp set in Calypso Coral, and kind of cut it at a slant just like this. And I think that's about it. So now we can start layering our little bouquet of flowers. So first off, we're going to go with the leaves. So I'm going to just dot some glue on the back of here. And then I'm going to lay that kind of over the top of the shaker, and then you can actually bend this leaf down to stick to the base of the card. So just lightly press and your leaves should stick. So when I mean I stuck it directly to the base, I kind of just bent it over and stuck it directly there. Now, take your Calypso Coral flower and put a little glue in there. It is totally okay that this doesn't line up. I almost prefer it not to line up, just because it kind of gives a little more character to it. And then we're gonna lay that flower right about there. So I'll put a little glue on the back, and we can pop it right on there, like so. And then once that's stuck, I just kind of bent up the edges here and added a little glue for the yellow flower and kind of put it a little bit more off to the left-hand side, like so. And then I took my dimensionals off the back of the hello and kind of stuck it a little bit behind the yellow flower, like so. Like that. And then last but not least, our extra little leaf here, I just put a little extra glue on the back, and then you can kind of add it wherever you think needed, but I kind of like it there, so I'm gonna go with that. Last but not least, this is kind of cool, little extra part to this. So I grabbed my little pearl glistening drops here, and I put a little pile of Tombow glue. And then you can use your tweezers or your fingers, and I just grabbed a couple and dropped them right into the glue. And then they like immediately fall in and adhere themselves to the glue. So I thought that was like kind of a cool little touch to be inside the pocket shaker card and then also outside on the flower. So there we have it, a super simple, really pretty, fun, interactive card that will brighten somebody's day. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed.